Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, no, we're back. This is season 2 of the Smash Komiks Podcast. We're doing this again. Yes, I'm very excited. This was an episode that was a month in the making, unintentionally, because one thing led to another, just personal stuff happened that we had to postpone to a future date, which date happens to be today. So, welcome once again. I am your host, Chino and Dean. You can follow Splash Comics on all our social media, on Facebook at Splash Comics, Twitter and Instagram at Splash Comics, and like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube channel, Splash Comics. Yep. Anyway, enough with the fluff. Joining me tonight are 3 members of the production team that makes up the brains behind DrawInk's new project, Where the Sunflowers Weep. You can find this comic on Facebook at DrawInk. Yes, joining me is one of them. You guys will already know. He's a friend of the show. Is Benz Golin, DrawInk president and the writer behind Where the Sunflowers Weep, as well as two new members of the Splash Comics family, Angel Escudero and Yuzen Zhang, who are the artists behind DrawInk. So, hi guys, thank you for joining me.
Hello, thank you for having us.
For having us.
Yes, I'm very excited.
Hey man, glad to be back.
All right. So first things first, how's everyone been since last we've spoken?
Busy.
Yeah.
Go, Julie.
Go.
Go, Julie, go.
I've been busy with schoolworks and OJT. So there's that.
What company?
Puro mga pieces.
Ikaw, Benz.
No, I've been busy with Valorant. Joke lang. Yeah, I've been busy with writing other scripts for other projects that I have in store in the future. And I've been organizing a project that's, you're a part of. Eventually, we'll show that too. And as far as DrawInk is concerned, yeah, the presidential responsibilities has kept me awake, alive at least, to the point that I think I'm consistent with how I regulate everything going inside DrawInk. So we're also having a bit of trouble with some events that are going to be held, but we're doing it together as a team, and hopefully we'll make that work for you guys to see in the future. So yeah, and apart from that, academics is all right. Yeah.
Okay. Ikaw naman, Yuzen. How have you been?
Yes, still gonna echo their sentiments. Yeah, pretty busy, both with ACADS because I just recently came out of LOA from last term, so now I have ACADS and like drawing, I guess, to worry about. Yeah, mostly been kind of quiet though on social media, but just working on like personal drawing stuff.
That's great. Always have to keep busy. As I say, when it comes to creatives, boredom is the enemy. Anyway, so Angel and Yuzen, you are new to the Splash Comics show. Tell us a little something about yourselves. As creatives, as members of DrawInk. Please, the floor is yours.
So I don't remember who recruited me to DrawInk. I think it was Benz and Paolo. They're my batchmates. We're from the same 117. So they said, "Oh, we're having this organization. Join ka na, tita."
Sounds like me.
Okay. And then at first I just don't know what to do yet. Then they posted all those projects they're making. I'm like, oh, okay, so many projects. I'll try. There, the president Benz, he took me in. Sabi niya, ikaw talaga, Tita Julie.
Tita Julie talaga eh.
Tita Julie. Mas matanda po siya sa akin, for the record.
Ang dami na kanyang nickname eh. Hindi ko na alam kung saan nakuha.
Julie, Angela, Jules, Jelay, ano pa ba?
Jolie.
Jolly. Yung favorite ko, Jolly. Jolly.
That's great. Ikaw naman, Yuzen. Please introduce yourself.
Okay. So, hello everybody. I'm the inker of DrawInk, and I forgot. Like, I don't think anybody recruited me. I think honestly, I was just walking along Main, CSB Main, and I was tired. And I was just like walking, and CJ was like, "Hey, you want to join this? You want to join this org?" I was like, "Oh, okay." I forgot it's SI week. Nothing. I was like, "Wow, they seem fun." Nothing. That's it. And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's nice. Maybe I'll join, but I won't participate." And they started like pitching ideas. I was like, "Oh, but so many people commented on this one. Maybe I'll put in mine, but I won't get in." And Ben's messaged me. So, like, now I'm here. Yay.
And we're very happy to have you. Also, by the way,
Using that, hey man.
Yeah.
Yes.
She got hey
Just
man.
like that.
Yes. A trademark of, again, another friend of the show, CJ Katapang, who was part of the season finale of season 1 of Splash Komiks Podcast. But yes, before we move on, also for those who don't know, Yuzen was kind enough to be a part of the exhibitors page of the main Splash Comics website. So we thank her very much. Okay, so to get to the heart of the matter, and I do mean heart, because what we're about to discuss really does center on, I guess, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of romance. Well, we'll have them discuss it. What we're going to talk about is, of course, Where the Sunflowers Weep. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so to start, please, what is Where the Sunflowers Weep?
I'd say it's something that's rooted from my high school life. It's really inspired and based on there was this incident in my high school where very scandalous incident. Now, the things that happen in Where the Sunflowers Weep highly reflect that. So if you were curious about that incident, that also happened within my high school and became a big deal, super big deal. And the particular victim of that situation, she was really outcasted. So sobrang nilalayuan siya ng mga tao. People looked at her like she was gross. Oh my God, she's that. And people just wanted to go away. She had no friends, and eventually, of course, that stopped because people got more supportive of her because she had friends. But still, that's highly reflected within Where the Sunflowers Weep. The story about, and to make a good, let's say, analogy of what the overall story is. So Where the Sunflowers Weep is how to conquer the difficulties. Let's say that life is opposing. The opposing. Let's just say that it's a solution for unnecessary suffering. That sort of thing. So it's Therese's story, the girl in the middle. That's her story about how she conquered, or how she's going to conquer all the tragedies and difficulties that life is throwing at her while remaining herself. Yeah. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, I think it's also coupled with like our desire to want to make a high school story that's a little bit more in tune with our experiences. Because especially since we're still kind of near the age of like high school age, we remember what happened then, and we know, of course, like even though we were young back then, like we were going through stuff. So I think that's also one thing we all carried over to the project, that we were like, oh, but these people, like they're kids, but they have real problems, you know.
Um, I I would say the same is true for what Dave said, and yes, very relatable stuff in the story, especially by the way, I'm the colorist, so I reflected my the colors for this story in more or less in the real life high school settings that I've also seen, and it the story does reflect on a lot of things that I would nostalgically see in my high school life. Mga magugulong estudyante and the
Oh,
friendship.
yeah. Sino yun?
Yeah, we've some of them are still in college.
Sino
They
yun?
haven't changed. Anyway. Anyway, okay. So, what does "Where the Sunflowers Weep" mean?
Oh, okay. So here's a funny thing with this story. The title came first. I was thinking, what type of story do I want to write? And then it hit me. I just threw out titles in my brain. I said, Where the Sunflowers Weep. That's it. I like that story. We're going to do that. We're going to do that story. So I wrote that story. And it's basically, that's it. So there's really no deeper meaning to the title, Where the Sunflowers Weep. But what I wanted to reflect within the story overall in general was that sunflowers look towards the sun, right? So sunflowers look for, let's say, hope, that sort of thing. And they stand tall and they're beautiful and they're proud of being who they are, that sort of thing. So night comes and sunflowers, they don't look at the sun, but they stand tall regardless. And then when the sun is there, they look towards the sun. So it's kind of like how she's doing, how Therese is kind of, at least that's a correlation that I did with the sunflower thing. So the main characters are two, which is, yeah, yeah. Christian is one of the main characters, and then the other one is Therese. So Therese is kind of like the sunflower, and Christian acts like a metaphorical sun. Not to, he's just there to give her a little bit of hope, that sort of thing. But she's the one still standing tall, proud, and beautiful. So yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
really cool.
Yeah, that's all right. So actually, that leads us to the. Thank you for the segue, by the way, because that leads us to the next topic, discussing the characters. So let's start with Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah, please just talk about him.
Yeah. Christian's how should I say this? He's like the average Joe kind of character that I wrote. That there's really in the first chapter, there's really no redeeming quality that's super incredible about him. But in the later chapters, we're going to see a lot more of his characteristic and why he's a protagonist type of character. But there's really not much to tell about the guy, except for the fact that, let's say, or the idea that he's sort of the sun, the symbol of hope, at least. That watches Therese whenever she can, they watch each other, etc. And they find they find purpose within each other, let's say, or meaning. But in terms of character design and the overall figure, I think Yuzen and Angela can do a lot more. Yeah, go.
Yeah. So one thing that I think Ben's intended for the script, that we all just like read through it and we were like, oh, okay, we got it now. Like we got this Christian guy's whole entire character like that. it was translated in the character design by making him look friendly in like these subtle ways, or making him look like open. Like he really does seem like a kind of person who'd have an optimistic look at things, which is what Therese would need at this point of her life, probably.
As for me, when I was picking colors, they did state that they wanted to be as Filipino as possible and as normal as possible. So I opted with these. To be honest with you, I thought that when I was coloring this, I thought the design of Christian was kind of based on Ben's because sometimes hair would his hair would wave similarly to how Christian's hair parted. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe gonna in the color of what I think Ben's would if animated or drawn.
I feel flattered. Thank you. I feel flattered.
Speechless.
Thank you. I'll sleep well at night.
Wow.
It's great. Yeah, it's definitely not a Splash Comics podcast without technical difficulties. Don't worry. I'm sure by season 10 we'll have like a decent laptop now. Anyway, yes, before you move on, I do want to say hello to Gian Isabel Ong in the comments.
What's up, G?
Hello.
Yep. She's here. She said hello. She's also observed that I disappeared for a few moments. Okay, so now for the next main character,
Ooh,
Therese.
I just love the way these guys did this. I just love how Therese looks. When I first saw it, I was, this is it. This is it. I love it. It's perfect. It's gorgeous. She's beautiful. She's great. She has that personality that I like, or at least that I envisioned within the character. And more of the character's personality, Therese is. I'm not sure what Therese necessarily is. She's yeah, but all I know is that I love her. No, I'm just kidding. Therese is kind of like that. My first take on her was she was as bright as the sun. She's a sunflower. She's beautiful. She's proud. She's strong. She stands up, etc., etc. And her personality just sparks joy and bliss, that sort of thing. Which is really why her test is kind of everyone else is kind of put her down or raining on her parade, but her personality doesn't. Her personality persists. So yeah, but on more character design notes, yeah, definitely the artist can give a more insightful look.
Yeah, I just remembered when I saw her. Nicole did the initial pencils again, and when I saw her, she sent over to her GC, and everybody's reaction was just, "She's so cute." Like, it's true, she's so cute. She looks so sunny, and I was glad that we decided to do the wavy hair because it seemed, I don't know, like it seemed more matching with her personality. Like it seems natural, like cute in a supernatural, oh, not supernatural, wait, cute in a natural way.
That's also my favorite part of Therese, her wavy hair, because to be perfectly honest, I haven't seen much of characters with wavy hair. They're usually always straight-head characters, short-head characters, or long-haired but straight-haired characters. So having some wavy-haired characters and slightly curly-haired characters was really a joy to me because I am actually also wavy-haired.
Amen.
Ooh.
It's refreshing to see.
Bias pala, ganun.
Oh,
Joke.
depends.
As someone who's drawn wavy hair in their time, I don't really blame them. I don't blame artists for defaulting to straight hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do credit you for
Mm.
for selecting wavy hair for her for this character. Okay, so
She's so
One.
beautiful.
ito, the cast, I guess, the whole
Yeah.
cast.
I think the other guys should ought to be the one to speak first about this.
Mm. Oh, it's too bad Nicole can't come because
Yeah.
I think she did like most of the initial designs and the brainstorming and explanation behind it. Nothing. We just pitched in. We were like, oh, that's interesting. Like, oh, Nicole. What do you call that? Noelle has a hoodie. Whoa, yeah, that's so Noelle. Like, I don't know. Like when she designed the characters, we were like, oh yeah, that seems like something he'd do like that. Even though we didn't really, we only had chapter one script at this point. But then we looked at these character designs and we were like, oh, okay, so this is, yeah, this seems like a very accurate visual representation.
Yeah.
Like with his like tucked out Damien with his like rebellious only one side tucked out. I don't know. Like those little details. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that does seem like their personality. And if there was something, if there was like one element that I couldn't quite picture visually yet in the script, like I think Nicole was able to bring it out with the character designs here.
Actually, what I want to I do want to ask who came up with the designs for the uniforms.
Nicole as
Oh
well.
yeah,
Cool.
Nicole did that.
Okay. Yeah, we wish her well. Shout out to Nicola Blaza.
Yeah.
Go Julie.
Sorry, Angel, continue.
Oh yes. So in the coloring process, I also did different color of the uniform, and I made them pick, and we still ended up with this color, which is the default color. And when we read the script, there was already personalities in the characters, so coloring the characters themselves was already reflected in the personality that they gave out. And with Nicole's vision, they were fleshed out into these kinds of characters, like how Damien was made to look this quiet type of guy, usually seen as the tall guy that's quiet.
Like dark and handsome.
Yes, tall, dark, and handsome. That's basically what I did for Damien. And Noel seemed the kind of guy that stayed indoors, so he would like have lighter hair. Maybe he had some weak constitution or something. While Mark is the usual best friend that will cause trouble. Yun yung best friend mong dinadamay ka sa gulo niya.
Paolo Cruz, kung nandyan ka man, alam mo na.
Yep. Okay. Actually, one thing I have noticed is that the three boys and threes have the 4 boys. Sorry, 4 boys and threes
Yeah,
have names, but you did not give names to the bullies.
Yeah.
Is there a rationale for that?
Yeah. When I was writing this first, I was thinking it's going to be the first chapter. So the characters' names, they are not really that necessary. So and in chapter 2, there some of them are actually have names now. So girl 2 and girl 1. Yeah, girl 1. They're gonna have names soon. And I think I also gave girl 3 a name. So yeah. But I wasn't thinking too far ahead back then, since it was perhaps one of the first scripts that I was writing during the time was this, and I was my goal was to ignite the writing team back then in DrawInk. So what I did was, I wrote about 7 scripts in the span of a month. So I didn't have time to dive into super meticulous details, although I did my best to justify the details as much as possible. But so far, I didn't give these girls names because it just didn't seem necessary at the time. But the next chapter, definitely they're going to happen. And also, one of the things that I love about the character designs the artists did here was, if you look closely at the girls, the bullies, that's exactly how the bullies in my school looked like. Yeah, they didn't have their necktie, they didn't have socks, they were wearing ankle bracelets, and then uh, the one with red hair, her name is going to be Sarah in chapter 2, and notice how short her skirt is. Yeah, a lot of bully girls at our school are like that. So really beautiful design. Really great
Oh,
insight.
I'd like to point out the shoes too, because the
The
Mm.
shoes
heels.
in the bullies are also different from Therese. And I remember seeing Therese's shoes, and I was like, okay, this is like default like shoes for
Yeah.
uniforms, yeah, and in schools, right? And then you see the
Yeah.
bully shoes. Oh, they're the popular girls. They're the popular girls
They
because
get
they're
designer
shoes.
shoes.
Yeah, I was like, oh, those are the kind of shoes I wanted when I was that age. You know, that's how you know they're the popular ones.
Yeah. Oh, and
Yeah.
ankle socks. Ankle socks.
Yeah, the ankle. Can't forget the ankle socks.
Yeah. No
Yes.
offense. No offense sa mga bullies dyan no high school. No offense. Guys.
We don't judge people based on
Yeah.
their interests of
Yeah.
ankle socks. Like if you own one, we don't want to offend you.
Yeah. No offense, guys. Don't cancel us.
Yeah, we're accepting of all sock lengths.
As someone who went to an all boys school for 14 years, I can definitely identify with the
Ankle
individual differences in attire, especially with the boys. Yung the hoodie, the one with a few buttons down, the one with the polo tucked half in, half out. Yeah, and yes, the occasional ankle sock, because Lord knows. Anyway, okay, so I want to talk about the art style. Yeah, ito, just a sample page, and I think this is probably among those who have read the book, this is the one that's probably the favorite spread of the book. So, why did you decide to go for a more, I guess, cartoony anime style for this book?
I
Oh, okay.
think for this one, we were like staying loyal to Benz's wishes in the original.
Yeah.
That sounds weird, but the original pitch in DrawInk's group, you said something about like the inspirations were what was that?
Your
Silent
lion.
Voice
Yeah,
and
Silent Voice. Your lion.
Your Lie in April. And I was like, oh, okay, so I can already kind of like get an image. I was like, okay, very Kyo Ani kind of style. And I think this is perfect also because it's a blend with Nicole's style. Because if you see Nicole's style, it kind of looks like this, except this one's a little amped up with the anime features. So I think it's like pretty, like it's okay for her to do because she can do it consistently because it's kind of like her art style is incorporated in it anyway. I think we also kind of wanted like a more
Shoujo
like
vibe.
a kind of beauty to it, like a serene kind of beauty to it.
I think we also incorporated like some kind of shoujo vibe, like a
Oh,
girl story kind of manga, because it's like a rom-com, school life,
The Kimi no Nawa.
yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. You know?
yeah.
First of all, pats on the back for me for getting that, for being able to pronounce that. Anyway,
Isn't it Ruben? Ruben.
don't know. Anyway, I'm sorry, Angel. Continue.
So yeah, I think this is probably everyone's favorite two-piece spread. Basically, because this is the only two-piece spread in the chapter. Most of the work was put on here. The climax was here.
Definitely. Also, from Gian, you know that you read too much manga when you read this from right to left and get confused. Yep,
Yes.
True,
I
true.
can see that.
Yeah.
I
All right.
also did
Sige, go.
additional things to say about the style of this is my main inspiration for this whole story was Your Lie in April. Kasi yung character dun, yung Kyrie ba yun?
Kauri, I think.
Kyrie, yeah.
Kyrie.
Kyrie, yeah.
Kylie Jenner.
Kyrie Jen. No.
I was going Kyrie Irving, but okay. Uncle Drew. Sorry.
Anyway, yeah.
No.
So the design of these characters, or at least the style, I really wanted to reflect on that because it was actually a really, really sad series. But I don't know, it was so bright and yet it was so sad at the same time. And so that type of feels or vibe towards the whole script was in my head. That was in my vision, and I realized. And one of the things that DrawInk leaders and I had discussed back then was, as much as possible, or at least something that I've learned when writing scripts, was that you always have to give your artists the liberty to do what they want, let's say. So I actually told them that they could do what they wanted here. It's a design and style. So I only gave them a brief, let's say, reference towards those stories, like Your Lie in April and The Silent Voice. But ultimately, it was all theirs. So hats off to them. They did a really good job, each and every one.
Yeah, definitely. I read through it, and it was definitely very, very well done. Actually, do want to ask, going back to the characters, Benz, talk about this. As a writer,
Yeah.
how hard is it to come up with names?
Oh,
No,
oh man.
tell me I'm wrong. That it's difficult.
Yeah,
It's a lot harder than it looks.
I think that's the most difficult part. I think it's the most difficult part of the whole process of creating a character. Personally, because it's easy to know what their objective is, what their goals are, etc., etc. You can see how they are developed. You have a lot of references towards that. But especially, let's say, something like this, kagaya ng Filipino na setting, kasi wala naman tayong references for other Filipino settings, wala gaano, right? Tapos, gagawa ng story na based na sa character nito. What's the most Filipino name you can think of? How is a Filipino that's also friendly gonna be named as? How is a Filipino that's going to be a dick going to be named right? So you gotta think of so many things. And one thing that it just hit me with these characters, okay, and it's also why Christian's name is Christian, because Christian's name is super default. Like you know a lot of people named Christian, man.
Yeah.
CJ, Christian yan, Christian Joseph. right. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure we just exposed his alter ego. But okay. He's not here to defend himself. We're probably gonna get a very, I don't know. Probably gonna get him commenting later.
We're gonna get Kerjacked.
Hey brother, what's this I hear?
Hey man,
Anyway.
I didn't do that, man. I didn't choose my name, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also Mark's name is kind of a default, but most of the characters here are actually based on characters I know in real life, and their characteristics are kind of like that. So I know someone whose name is Damien when we were in high school. Ang pronunciation ng Damien niya, Damian. Oy, Damian! Damian! So he was that type of character, and he was very stoic in a way. He wasn't super cool, but he was stoic in his own right. And Mark, I had this friend who was such a goofball when we were in high school. His name, I'm not gonna say his name here, but his name is Mark, obviously, but the surname, etc. But yeah, he was such a goofball, and people loved him. He was a really social guy. And Noel, I think some of you know a Noel in your life, right? The Noel I know is a bit shy, not super shy, but a bit of a recluse, a bit of a nerd, not someone that's super introverted. That type of guy. Noel. Yeah. So the names of those characters are just really natural, especially for Christian. I thought, how would I name someone who's a protagonist and not make too much of a fuss about the name or the design of his name, etc. So I just thought Christian. Christian's a pretty decent name, right? Therese's name is actually the one that's unique, because I think out of all of the other names, Therese is the name that's more personalized in my taste. Because there was this character. I'm gonna tell you guys a story about high school. Jesus, when I was in high school, one of my friends had a girlfriend. Her name was, I'm not gonna say their name, but their nickname towards each other was Sinus and Fesha. If you know the song Synesthesia by Mayonnaise, that's where they got it from. So they're nakakainis sila sa batuan, so super cheesy. So pero yeah, and I kind of like the name Fesha, etc. That sort of thing. And it's kind of been stuck on my mind when I was writing the script. So I thought, Therese, because her name could be Reese or Fesha or Thesia or Sarasa, that sort of thing. So it's really more personalized than all the other characters. That's why that's also kind of I'm really invested in Therese's character because of that particular story. And I know it doesn't really have that too much of a connection, but personal taste. Luckily, it stick. So, Therese. That's all.
Indeed. Okay, so before we move on to the next part of our discussion, I want to talk about, you mentioned chapter 2.
Yes, sir.
Is it in the works now? What can we expect? Please.
Yeah, we've actually finalized the schedule and we're going to start production around March 3, right? March 3. Yeah. The script is already finished. And I actually finished the script last week, I think, or a couple of weeks ago. 3 weeks back, I believe. And we've established now a more complete team. We've added another artist, Sichel Mars. What was Sichel's last name? Sichel Marcelo? I got it. Yeah, but she's going to be our background artist. So to improve the story, and this time, Where the Sunflowers Weeps chapter 2 will be 24 pages instead of 16. So it's going to be more compact, and it's going to introduce a couple of more characters. It's going to be a bit more, not necessarily compact. I mean, we're going to show a lot more details on exposition and how the characters are, an exploration of the characters, more personalities. So yeah.
All right, so I want to move on to the next part, which is that part of the advertising. Actually, no, one of the more unique features of Where the Sunflowers Weep is that you guys came up with a music video for it, which we will not play, unfortunately, but we will put a link to it in the description. We will link it for people to watch. So what I want to talk about is, what made you decide to have a music video for Sunflowers?
I was writing a song about it because I was inspired to write the song about it, because that's just how it went down. When I saw the pages that these guys were doing, that Julie and Yuzen and Nicole were doing, there was a sort of flick in my head that just went, oh, I want to write a song about it. And my little sister helped me out with creating the tune for the song, because she's really that talented. And so I wrote the lyrics, and she made a song. We sang it together. And yeah, when other people heard that, it was like, oh, when CJ heard that, it's like, oh, hey man, let's make this music video, man. Man. That's, he contacted
Solid impersonation.
Yeah. I mean, I've been stuck with the guy for a year, so he's one of my best friends. So
I like the term "stuck with him."
It's willing. I know. It's willful.
Okay, yeah.
I was willing.
I believe you.
All right. Patay tayo niyan. But yeah, and CJ got in touch with a couple of a pianist. I forgot the pianist's name escapes me for now, but yeah, he's credited, of course, in the music video. So yeah, he's really good. My little sister uh, used the ukulele first when creating the song. So she's really she really had a hand in this. She's really a great talent. So she used the ukulele. The pianist, he converted it into piano, and then Cat Mendoza sang it, and it just went out great. That was great. But mostly it was all about. I just really got inspired by the artwork that Yuzen, Nicole, and Angela just wow, super great. This deserves a lot more. This deserves a lot more than the usual marketing. I was biased. I was biased toward their work. I really love their work. So yeah.
Yeah. Actually, okay. So okay, yeah. Before we move on, I do want to say that we will be taking questions from the audience later. So if anyone who's watching wants to leave a comment or ask a question, please just put it in the comments below, and we'll get to it later. All right. So next is that. So okay, this isn't the first time that DrawInk has ventured into the realm of cross-platform marketing. I think for Kerjak they had, CJ had his film buddies to make the trailer. I mean, Kerjak is pretty much like a comic/movie series at this point, right? So I want to ask is how important is cross-platform when it comes to marketing a comic book these days?
That's tough. We have these discussions regularly when it comes to drawing cars. Sorry, my dog is really loud. Really small dog.
He's trying to contribute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's of the utmost importance when it comes to marketing. I'm not professional when it comes to marketing, to speak about marketing here, but when it comes to that, my dog is distracting me. So, yeah. You guys answer first. So if you guys have ideas,
Yeah.
shut my dog off.
If the other guests want to talk.
It's really important to have a cross-platform because not everyone would just view things as in one media. Considering that we have social media and a lot of people have different attention spans, and contributing to that is the people's intrigue. So if there are cross-media advertising, the more that they be enticed to look at the certain media that is being presented, such as our comics. That's what I think.
Yeah. I think it also like builds to this idea of wow, this universe is so wide. Like in Kerjak, when they released the comic, of course, like there was also the trailer that you guys mentioned coming along with it. And I think seeing it from a different in like not comic form, in like an actual live action trailer, you can see this and you're like, whoa, wow, the universe of Kerjak is expanded, something like that. So I think that's also what happened with Where the Sunflowers Weep. When people saw this and we hit them suddenly with a music video, it's like the universe of Where the Sunflowers Weep is a little bit wider, and we have like a wider appeal because people who might not be interested in comics will look at the music video and get curious about what exactly this video is about. And when they find their comic, maybe then they'll be enticed to read it. Like maybe then we'll get the audience that wouldn't normally go looking for our content.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, Benz.
Yeah, I'm back. I have officially grounded my dog. So yeah, how important is cross-platforming, right? When it comes to marketing comics, it's really, it's really, I think it's of the utmost importance because comics just isn't as how should I say, flamboyant or attractive as how should I say, as the other mediums like film. Because I'm not an expert on this, but I really think in terms of marketing, what we did for Where the Sunflowers Weep, the animated music video thing, really did work pretty well, like what Yuzen said.
So regarding the music video, will there for chapter 2, do you guys have anything planned for how to market that?
None really, not really. Me, it's usually the marketing team's ideas that come into light when it comes to these matters. But for the music video, I think the song that I wrote, that my little sister and I wrote, I think that's what we're going to keep on using for now, because it's just the perfect song for the current setting of the chapters. Maybe in later the depictions or later chapters, it might change. The song might change, but for now, I think this is the song's perfect as it is. So with that regard, there's really nothing else that we can say. And for yeah, I think the marketing team really has more of the ideas on these things, and I trust the marketing head, which is CCJ, and his team to do what they think is best to market the stories. And this goes for not just for Where the Sunflowers Weep Chapter 2. It also goes with for the other comics that will be released later on by DrawInk. Yeah.
Okay. That, I mean that's about as insightful as you can get, right? For the eventual chapter 2. Okay. So before we move on to the Q&A, which by the way, for anyone still watching who have not been completely bothered by my deficient Wi-Fi connections. So this is a question for the three of you. So now that you guys have added a new member to the universe that is DrawInk's comic sphere. I mean, talk about how do you feel about that? Like you are now part of Where the Sunflowers Weep is now part of a bigger. I mean, it's there's no. I don't know how it crosses over, but it's now part of a bigger thing, diba? Especially for you, Angel and Yuzen, who I don't think you guys have written or been part of a comic yet, right?
Oh yeah.
No, not yet.
So I mean, talk about it, and then Ben's, being president of DrawInk and also having written for I think at this point 2 comics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sweet.
please, each of you, talk about how you feel about that now. That Christian and Therese are no longer are not only their individual thing. They're now part of a universe that has si Kerjak, the Scots Adventures.
Yeah.
Who else? Buster Mike. There we go. Yeah, Buster Mike. See, please, floor is yours.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting experience because like what Chino mentioned earlier, I haven't been part of a comics project ever before, and when I first decided I was like gonna apply to Where the Sunflowers Weep, I was maybe I'll just like gather what do you call that? Like gather experience first and knowledge first, like the inner workings of DrawInk. Let me know your secrets so that I can also exploit it. Just just kidding, but like use it for like future career. And nothing. It's really cool though, because when for months like we were brainstorming these characters and it was just us and like everybody in the GC, it was just us who knew about these characters and who knew about like the like things we theorize about them and the little marketing, and we can actually share some of the stuff that we made. It was really nice to see everybody like sharing it and reacting to it. Um, and to create comics myself now that I'm like, oh, okay, so this is how it works. I can see now and I can like try to learn from it and use it in the future, so that maybe if I want to create a series in DrawInk, then I'll use this. But if I want to take this to my future career even outside of drawing, then I'll use it too, yeah.
Ikaw naman, Angel. Any comments?
Exploit us.
So,
Exploit us.
Ano,
Grabe.
tama yun. Parang,
so it's also my first time working on a comic, especially being a colorist, because I haven't really done anything. Like, maybe I did some personal comics, but not this like whole team kind of comic where there's also some pencilers and inkers and other people. So this experience was really something new to me, and the way this comic is, it really helped shed light in what the comic industry could actually be, and how these like small student projects can actually branch out into something bigger. And I think the experience that we get here is like something we can treasure and bring out till even further into our careers in the creative field.
And last but not least, Benz.
okay. Yeah, thanks. To be part of something big and as great, or at least in my perspective, at least something that gives me purpose, such as being part of drawing, let's say, is a tremendous, say, it it's food for my soul. Let's just go with that. And to be part of, let's say, a team that actually has made a comic like this, because here's the thing: Where the Sunflowers Weep is the first comic that was done using the production method that we developed, that the previous core officers had developed. This was really the first one, because all the other Kerjack, Buster Mike, and Scott's Adventures, those three were all done by the officers. This one was the first comic to be done by members, just members. Or, well, of course, I'm an officer, but that's just a story. I'm just part of the whole thing. But everyone else, they were members. They weren't officers, but they stepped up. They took the initiative and they made something great. And that's really something cool. To be a part of that is, it feels like, on my part as a writer, feels like I'm exploiting the artists.
Aren't we all?
I'm sorry.
I would not know. I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry, guys, but it feels like that sometimes, because you guys do such great work, and ako yung taga-ganyan na ako. Okay na. Okay.
This is
In between rounds of Valorant.
Gagan pa ako. Wait lang, guys. Next round. Iko round. So yeah, but despite that, it feels really great to be a part of something like this, especially considering that DrawInk has now been here for a year, and this is the second year of DrawInk, and so far we've done I would say that DrawInk has done a pretty decent job of being consistent when it comes to creating comics, at least to the degree that it has shown so far. This is definitely much more consistent than our previous year, where I think we weren't able to produce a comic. The only comic that we were able to produce back then was Scout's Adventures on year one, and then Buster Mike came later. Jack, so on and so forth. So, but so far now, in DrawInk's current state now, we are producing comics. Around 6 comics are being produced in the moment. So hopefully we're going to be able to do that, or we're going to be able to show you guys what we have in store later on around the third term. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And it's just been a pleasure being a part of this team, specifically this team of artists, because each and every one of them is great and talented, and their personalities are just wonderful. It's a joy to be around these people.
Oh,
Nicole,
man.
yeah, Nicole, Yuzen,
Yeah,
Angela, Jillian, right? Alex too, right? And now Sicho. Oh, and David, Mama D, Mommy D.
Yes, definitely. It's been a wild ride watching the comics come to life. So before we move on to the Q&A, which, by the way, guys, you can, for those who are watching and who want to ask questions, please, by all means, leave them in the comments. Special shout out to Gian Ong again for being here
Shout out
since
to Shen.
for being here since we went live, and for constantly mentioning every time my Wi-Fi betrayed me. Oh, I could cry. Yeah. Okay, so I guess I'll start with the first question, as if I haven't been asking already. Where can people read Sunflowers?
Oh yeah, I see you go.
you can read it at DrawInk official page. They have it there.
Yep, it's free, right?
Yes, it's free.
Yeah.
Yes, unless gusto nyo kaming bigyan ng pagmamahal. So
They
mostly
work
the
for
artists.
they work for tips, guys.
Yeah. The artists. Wag ako, in-exploit ko lang sila.
Yes, he does. Special shout out James Camarines. He's watching.
Pasyantong ko.
Yep. Si Dan, Benz 10, yes.
Patrick ka dan.
I'm just going through the comments, guys, while we're waiting for people to speak.
Yeah.
Kaori.
Also, guys, the only place that you can read comics for DrawInk right now is on Facebook on our site, but we're hopefully planning on extending that reach later on. But so far, that's the only place currently. If member kayo ng DrawInk and you have ideas on how we can, promote our comics better, we're all ears, right? So, kontakin nyo na. I'm the president currently. So,
Yeah. Benz, who animated the music vid?
yeah, si Papa Shantong ko at yung kanyang team, Papa Shantong ko. Yeah, yung cash ng bayan na Chinito. Papa Shantong ko. Yeah.
Shantong, yep. Also yung teaser, sino gumawa? So Sean made both, the teaser and the MV?
Yes, sir. I think there was also another guy, but I'm not sure he was the one who did that. But yeah, Sean did that. Most of DrawInk's video teasers are done by Sean. So Sean Malakas.
He's the resident animator.
Oh, he's not an animator. He's a video editor.
Well,
But he's really good at it.
Oh, that's awkward now.
Sorry.
Yeah. Ano to? Isa pa. Si James Camarines, Chapter 2 hype. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Ito, si Gian. How messy was your sked when making the comic? Ben's with the PTSD face.
That face says it all.
Kaya naman, Jella, Yuzen, how was it trying to organize this? Because it's one thing now writers, the writer has to allocate the time to come up with the script. But as artists yourselves, being able to allocate time to work on Sunflowers, talk about that kind of struggle.
So at the time when I had applied for it, I was in LOA, so I had a lot of free time. And throughout the whole time, from the beginning till we finished the chapter, I was in LOA, so I was just using that time to be more productive. I think others, or they had classes at that time. But you, Zen, were you?
No. I was also I was also LOA.
Oh.
Yeah, but I still felt the struggle of time management, of poor time management. I think I talked about this briefly in the art jam where Benz discusses where the sunflowers weep. But there was like one thing that I said that I was like bad at consistency, because the first I really felt the struggle that the first page I was like, yes, I'm gonna work on this. Oh my god, everything will be so detailed, and I'm gonna make this 10 hours, something like that. And then after that, the next few pages, I was like, okay, 2 hours is good enough. No more. No
let's
more.
be realistic.
Yeah. I was like, yes, this is my magnum opus. Like 12 hours. Just kidding. And then after that, I was like, okay, this is getting tiring. I got a limit. Yeah, that's also one thing.
Was the 12 hours for the spread?
I think. Oh no, wait. The spread. I think that was around like 6. I'm not sure, but I noted it all down because I wanted to keep track of like my work, like how long it took me to finish a page, and I even did it out of order. Like I'm pretty sure that our tracker was so frustrated because she would be like, "Where's chapter 13?" I was like, "Oh, I'm in chapter 16. I'm sorry." Anyway, uh, but
Page, you mean?
yeah, um, I would experiment at first and be like, okay, can I do this in 2 hours? If I can fit it in 2 hours, then that's good. Then I'll keep doing this kind of more more time efficient kind of style. Okay, like that. So it went from like 10 hours to, like some were like 3 hours line art. Yeah, and that's about it.
I'm sure someday soon we will get to those 10 hours.
Also, shout out to Jillian Caranto. Siya yung tracker
Yeah,
nito.
shout out.
Yeah. Jillian, kung nakikinig ka, makinig ka. Kasi wala ka. Gumawa ka na ng comics mo, Jillian. Gumawa ka na.
Okay. Also, no, yeah, shout out kay Rafael Valenzuela.
Yeah. Magpagaling ka na, B. May sakit yan eh. Lapsy.
Oh my. Okay. How many times has your net failed you this time? Over 9,000. Okay. Ito. How many days did it take to make one page?
Oh.
I'm guessing that means from start to finish, like layout, the pencils, the inks, to colors.
Mm. For the coloring phase, because that's what I handled, I would usually use 1 day per page. Like I won't do anything other than that page. But of course, I'd take breaks and eat and all that. But that's all I would do the whole day. I would just color that page from base colors or shading, then feedback, and then if they have feedback, or revise. And I would do that every day as long as there's already an inked page.
Angel, you muted.
Julie, no, mute ka.
I am so sorry.
Yay! Technical difficulties that aren't my fault now. Sorry. Keep going.
I flicked my hand and it hit mute. So it I would usually take 1 day and I would use base colors and then shading and then send feedback and then have the feedback, look at the feedback, and then if there's any revisions and suggestions, I would revise it. as soon as possible and then check again for feedback. And if when everyone's all okay, I would put it in the drive. So it usually takes one day, but for the big spread, the 2-page spread, I think I took a longer time for it, maybe 2 days.
Okay. All right. So with that, I will be wrapping this up now. If no one has any more questions. Eto, sige, last question na lang. Si Gian. Oh, MVP. Okay. How much pain / revisions do you have to go through? Pain talaga yung mention niya.
Pain revisions.
They're correlated. Pain equals revisions, I guess.
I agree.
But I think for ours, like, there were no, like, there weren't any parts that big mistakes or anything. So revisions were like a fairly kind of like small thing that we can start from the kind of drafting stage. We're like, oh hey, we made a mistake here, and then we fix it right away. The only one that I can name that was kinda, I think, like a big one that might have been overlooked was the one panel with that we drew in Christian instead of Mark.
Oh yes.
Wait, yeah, that panel. We all like read through that. We're like, yeah, that's good. And then after I inked it, they were like, wait, is this supposed to be Mark? Wait, huh? Where? What? And we're like, oh no. I was like, it's okay. I'll quickly change his hairstyle.
Tapos na.
Yeah.
It was their page there.
I was done with the line art and stuff. I was like, okay, let me just get Mark's hairstyle. I'm gonna swap it like that.
When same face syndrome works in your favor.
Yeah.
Big brain
time, yes. Okay.
Well, that part, like, it was like a gag. His face was kind of exaggerated. I was like, oh, okay. If I change his hairstyle, like, they'll never notice. That's it.
Okay. Angel, Benz, Yuzen, plug your socials. Any upcoming projects you guys have in the works? Anything you want to talk about? Go ahead.
So, well, I have nothing, but I have my social media, Angie Bangy, in Instagram and Twitter. It's double G, okay? Angie Bangy. It's double G because lagi yung tanong kung ilang G. But yes, so far I don't have I don't have much project other than the chapter 2 that we would be working on. So look forward to our next Where the Sunflower Sweep installment. I hope you all would love it as much as you loved the first one.
Yeah.
For me, I guess I'm not that active on social media that I spread to my like college friends, I guess. But Instagram. Wait, I forgot my. Oh, this is how inactive I am. I forgot my. Okay, looked it up. Devanti_draws. So right now my account's on private, but things. I'll accept everybody. So just it's gonna be open soon, and you're gonna see mostly like just doodles and other pieces there, but no definitive future projects yet aside from this second chapter. But I do hope soon that I'll be able to contribute to, maybe if not DrawInk, like then just the world of comics in general. I don't know, guys. I just really want a gay comic soon in DrawInk. One thing I've been looking forward to. Nothing. I saw it. I saw DrawInk. I was like, man, you guys not banking in on this audience.
I mean,
I
have you
want
seen
to feel
Buster Mike?
represented,
I'm
man.
Don't worry. I mean, carjack Buster Mike. So
Hindi, sabi ko na nga pa eh.
the fan art on those things.
The fan art is amazing. And it's
I gotta
mostly from one
promise.
person.
Yeah. No
I love
promises.
those.
But
But
meron daw susunod si David. Something that he wants
okay,
to
David.
contribute.
Hi, David. Hire me, please. That's all.
No
Oh, yun
promises,
na. Ayun na, application. Okay,
Yeah.
Benz,
Yeah.
let's go.
I'm Benz Golin. You can find me at Facebook, Twitter, Instagram with the name Benz Go. BenzGoGh. I usually draw, alam niyo na yun. Basta pag nakita niyo, alam niyo na yun. Hindi ko masabi dito kasi not safe for work. So, yeah, mostly Valorant stuff. And for upcoming projects, yeah, apart from Where the Sunflowers Leap To and DrawInk Matters, we're handling a project in the near future. Chino is also part of that, but we're not going to spoil you too much with the details.
We'll talk about it
Yeah.
in a future episode.
Yes. So that's it. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
All right. Now, before everything blacks out on me again, you can find me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And on Twitch, actually. I do live stream my work, my drawings once in a while, meaning every other time. So Twitter and Instagram and Twitch, you can find me at art_andin. That's ART_ANDIN. And you can find me on Facebook, Art Andin. Same thing, just without the underscore. Oh God. Okay. Then follow Splash Comics on Facebook at Splash Comic. Twitter and Instagram, we will be posting there very, very soon. We have not been posting there recently, but we will. This will be the first post. Advertising the podcast will be the first post on the Twitter and Instagram channels. And then please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, Splash Comics. So once again, I would like to thank Angela, Benz, and Yuzen for coming in and sharing about an hour plus with me, even though technology seems to be my enemy today. And I would also like to special shout out Gian, Isabel Ong, for being here start to finish the MVP, even though I partly blame her for my internet troubles. No, it's not her fault, but I'd like to. I don't want to take all the accountability. Anyway, yes. So for Benz, for Angela, and for Yuzen, this is Chino and Dean. This is Splash Comics. Unity through creativity.